called George Washington Carver. Now, yesterday we talked about the main idea of our story that George Washington Carver used many different ways with in terms of soil and how they used different farm equipment. So we are going to look at some different questions. So remember our 5 W's are who, what, when, where, and why. So here's my who question. Who is this book about? Who is this book about? Everybody say it out loud. Who is this book about? Yes, George Washington Carver. Now, we could say, where did he go to school? We have all these different questions. When did he go to school? When did he start his experiments using his peanuts that helped out the soil? So, as I read, our question that we are going to be listening for is, what did George Washington Carver use to make soil healthy? Now, remember, healthy means that it's strong, it's growing well, just like we're all healthy, we eat the right things. And the same thing with soil. You need to give it the right things and all the nutrients too. So, as I read, I want you to think about, what did George Washington Carver use to make soil healthy? So, introduction, here's our heading. George Washington Carver was an African American scientist. He helped people grow plants. He found new ways to use them. So remember, our main idea is that George Washington Carver helps people to grow plants in new ways. All right. Early life. George was likely born in 1864. So you could ask, when was George born? He did not know his parents. He was born into slavery. Moses and Susan Carver owned him. Slavery ended. George moved to the family's house. Susan Carver taught George. He was curious. He studied plants. Wonder why he was curious. So, leader. Many schools did not allow African Americans. Oh, we learned about that with Martin Luther King, and that's what he was fighting for, equal for everybody. But Carver went to college. He studied agriculture. He found new ways to farm. What did he study? Agriculture. Look how all these different questions we can answer. Carver studied peanut plants. He used them to make soil healthy. That sounds like a question. He found many ways to use peanuts. What did George Washington Carver use to make soil healthy? Thinking about that. History maker. Carver wanted to share what he learned. So he started the Agriculture Movable School. It taught people how to farm well. So this is kind of like our bookmobile, where we have our books and it teaches people to love reading. Carver started crop rotation. Farmers could plant different crops. This kept the soil healthy. So you just meaning changing out different crops every time of the year that you grow them. Legacy. Carver died on January 5th, 1943. His work helped people reduce waste. Well, we learned about that too in science. This protected natural resources. It also helped many people. So I want you to think about, what did George Washington Carver use to make soil healthy? Now, I already actually gave the page that you can find the information on. So what did George Washington use to make soil healthy? Now, I have your sentence stem right here. Oh, I spelt that wrong. I will have to fix that. George is spelt wrong. So George Washington Carver used, I'm going to say this, so Carver studied peanut plants. He used them to make soil healthy. So what did he use? Use our pictures. He used the peanut plant to make soil healthy. So you're going to type that in. George Washington Carver used peanut plants to help make soil healthy. So you're going to write that in or type that in right here. So I have your own text box, so everybody has the same looking page. So make sure that you look at the text. You can copyright from the text, meaning peanut plants right there. You don't even have to figure out how to spell it out. It is right there. So we practiced our 5 W's, our who, our what, when, where. So where did he learn how to do all these things? At college. Where did he, or did he go to college? That's not a W question. Sorry. Who is this? Who are we studying about? George Washington Carver. But this is our W, our what question. What did George Washington Carver use to make soil healthy? So typing in the answer right here on your Jamboard.